Hello. There we are. 30 seems to be the magic number. I can go live on 3 strings at the same time with no problem. Yep. So we'll keep it at 30. Anyone want to talk to me? I doubt it's something. If you're coming in here with stupid scammy IDs like user this and user that, look. How did you come in twice? I don't understand that. Hello, chat rate 1. Well, who's in the chat then? There's no viewers. Chat rate 1. I don't understand. I don't understand most things in there. Alexa, background light on. I used to do karaoke on TikTok. No one used to come in for that either. Does anyone want to talk to me? With respect. Does anyone know what respect is anymore? Or politeness? Do people just ignore everything and that's how they survive in this world? Oh, look, they're rude. We just walk on by and ignore it. People on dating apps. You ask them a question, they just ignore you. You know, hello, how are you? They just ignore you. But if they're not interested, at least say, I'm not interested. Where are we on the stats rate? 30 is the magic number. 30 does look like the magic number. No drop frames. No lag. Bizarre. I'll stick to 30 then. 4 minutes, I think. 5 minutes over there, but 4 minutes for here. 3 streams, 3 different applications, and not one person's coming. I'm not going to take contact from people that haven't got a name, so goodbye. You are the weakest link. Oh, look, Angel Believer's coming. I'm surprised she hasn't said she can't hear me. That's normally the fucking... I can't hear you. You got your volume wrong. Yeah, okay. Volume's wrong. All the ones with just username, they're getting blocked. Ian D. No one's there, boys and girls. I honestly don't know why it's so dark. Let me have a look at the camera scene. That's a bit better. We'll keep it at that. It really isn't that dark in here. I don't know why it looks that dark here. Mrs. London. Hello, Mrs. London. How are you? No content. Not much in the way of an account. You're just flicking through, aren't you? There we are. Hello, Mrs. London. Ah, you do exist. Where are you? You say Mrs. London. Are you actually in London? And that's normally where the conversation ends. Funny that, isn't it? Oh, Luke's joined from Meet Me. Ooh. Is Luke going to say anything? Yes, near the city. See, that doesn't narrow it down, really, does it? What does that mean? Right, are you a visitor to London? Because you're talking like you weren't educated here. Not you, Luke. Miss London. I can make allowances if you weren't born here. I honestly can. But if you're born here and you're talking like that, there's a major failing with the education system in this country. He was born in Essex. So Cansea Bridge Thames. Does that make sense to you? There's about 27 bridges over the Thames. Which one can you see? You know? Or is it you don't make normal conversation when you're writing? It's just text speak. Do you see how frustrating life for someone like me is? I mean, thank you for talking, Mrs. London, but it's so frustrating when yes, near city and Cansea Bridge Thames. Well, I don't do text speak. I do conversation. Can you talk normally? Are you able to talk normally? Is this how people are brought up now? See, that's another one. Yes. To what? Can't you answer in full sentences? Yes to what? You're getting annoying, Mrs. London. Just for the people on YouTube. This is going out on YouTube and Meet Me as well. Just for the people on YouTube. There's someone on TikTok called Mrs. London. and she's not forming full sentences, and I'm having to guess what she's meaning. And that's the sort of level of incompetence that I seem to suffer every single day of my life. But there we are. Mrs. London's gone. Well, she probably will. She won't say anything else, probably, because she's probably offended or upset, or she thinks I'm rude. I just had one on the phone from NHS 111. I said I couldn't hear her because her voice sounded muffled, and I'm not going to struggle to understand her. And she said I was rude and offensive, and she was hanging the phone up. And she was. I couldn't. It was like she was talking through a wet sock. Yeah. I'm not going to struggle when I'm calling for help to try and understand the person that's allegedly trying to help me. And I record all my calls. Mrs. London, are you still there? I mean, according to this, you're still there. I don't suppose you want to come in on camera, do you? I mean, you haven't got a photograph. You haven't got any content. What's all the secrecy, Mrs. London? Harley is in the house. On TikTok, at least, for those in YouTube land. Is Harley going to say anything? Because this is what I get. People just coming in and not saying anything. Oh, Harley's gone. Oh, isn't that unusual? Harley came and went without even going into the list. I don't understand how people do that. I don't want to block you, Mrs. London, but if you're going to sit there and just be ignorant, then I will. Well, that is one way of describing it. Yeah, I am blunt because I need to get the point across before people hang up on me, usually. You know, I don't have the chance to have time because people just, they call me rude when they don't understand, usually. In my experience of 58 years of being treated like this. And they make an accusation of being rude up because, especially if they're in a business, do you want to come in camera, Mrs. London? I prefer to talk to people rather than, you know, have writing. And please don't, I'm autistic, Mrs. London, so don't send long messages because I won't be able to understand them. Short single sentences are fine. But it's like a friend of mine, I was trying to teach her English. She's a Russian, a former friend of mine. And I spent the best part of 2 weeks knowing her and keep telling her not to send great big chunks of text because I can't understand it because I'm autistic. And she kept doing it. And eventually I told her that she's either ignorant or rude because I've told her 3 times now not to send great big chunks of text. No, I don't. Thank you. Thank asking. Do you understand that? Because I don't. What the hell are you talking about, Mrs. London? No, I don't. Thank you. Thank asking. You need to mention the question you're replying to in your response. If there's several questions since when you do your response, you need to actually highlight the question you're responding to. You weren't born in this country. You couldn't have been without educational standards. Seriously. I mean, what part of Essex were you born in? Although I grew up in Dagenham, and an awful lot of people left school there. Thank you, Steph. an awful lot of people left the school I was in and they could barely read and write. And this is at the age of 16. So maybe it was more prevalent than I hoped. It was only my school. Who's in there? Queen Claire, Steph. Hello, Steph. Ue Stephanie. As I say. No one else says that. Ue Stephanie. Walking on Sunshine. No bio. One of those scammer looking poses there, Steph, if you don't mind me saying. I was born in Stepney. But it's not where you were born, really, is it? It's about where you were educated. I mean, that is a good sentence. I can understand that, Mrs. London. If you wrote all your responses like that, I wouldn't have an issue. Do you see where I'm coming from? I do wonder what happened to Brian King as well, because he was the one that left without being able to read or write at the age of 16. I do wonder what happened to him. He was fantastic with his hands and mechanically and that. He was fantastic. But he just couldn't read and write. Hello, Lauren from Meet Me. We are co-streaming on TikTok and YouTube. Oh, so you were abused as well. Okay. I see any sort of like church schools as abusive to children because it sponges their mind clean of any reason. And I'm not saying you are a scammer, but the photograph you've got on your profile where you've got your face covered by a mobile phone, I've had that so many times over the years from scammers. Not saying you are a scammer, but don't you think it looks a bit odd? There's no other content and all you've got is a picture of you, very attractive by the way, of the standard scammer pose in front of a mirror with your mobile phone over it. I'm not saying you are a scammer, Steph. This is why people get on my back. You know, they think I'm not telling anyone off, Mrs. London. I'm just asking you to communicate in a grown-up and reasonable way. I'm not telling you off. You do what you want to do. But if you're communicating with me, I'm just making sure you understand that I can't understand this text speak, this modern speak. It has to be in full sentences. I know you've got your account. I've not got a thing with... I mean, generally, the scammers don't have their account on private. This is why I didn't accuse you of being a scammer. I just said there's a very scammer pose. See, this is why I've got no friends, because people jump at me just because I say what's on my mind. And I don't mean to be rude or offensive. But I do find religious schools abusive children. They should educate children to think, and then the religion should come after the age of 16. You should have a choice of religion. You shouldn't be indoctrinated into it, because that's how it's lasted 3,500 years. No, because that's what I've got. What's a joke? See, this is what I've got to work at now. This is tiring for me, Mrs. London. What's a joke? Essex humour. Yeah, I understand Essex humour. What part of what you've said is Essex humour? Can you not just... Oh. See, this is why I give up. Because this is what conversations are like with me. I have to keep explaining and re-explaining and saying things over and over again because people don't listen or people don't understand. And no one says I don't understand anymore. And when no one queries what they don't understand, no one understands anything. I've had it with ex-girlfriends. I was teaching a Romanian girlfriend for 18 months, kept saying she spoke English. And I thought there was something weird going on because she didn't seem to respond to things I was saying. And then I found, so what do you do for a living now? I'm only on here because I've tried and tried and tried to find someone to talk to or talk with. And I've been in tears all weekend because I'm so lonely. And then I come on here and, okay, thank you for talking, Mrs. London, but it is so frustrating because I don't want to think about what other people are trying to say. I want to hear and understand. But it's like constantly deciphering and translating. Try doing that 24/7 with anyone you talk with. And it's so tiring and exhausting. I don't go to sleep in the evenings. I crash because I'm just mentally exhausted. And then I normally wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and have 3 cats standing around me thinking, where haven't you fed me? I'm not having a go at anyone. I'm just explaining to everyone. Now, I've done that my life. I've done that for 58 years and it's bloody tiring when you're supposed to be more tolerant of people that don't understand and they won't even turn round and say, I don't understand. You're supposed to second guess them. I cannot do that anymore. I'm slowly having a little breakdown here, boys and girls. And I'm trying to explain to everyone that I just need someone to talk with. This is not talking to me. What you're doing in the text. No, I didn't say that, Stephanie. I said the photograph looks like a scammer. I didn't say you look like a scammer. Do you understand? If it was like I said, if it was a scammer's profile, it wouldn't be on private. And normally the scammers have between 5 and 7 people, photographs of them, all doing the same sort of thing. So I didn't say it was a scammer. I said it's a scammer-like photo. Ah, you're doing it again, Mrs. London. That Xmas tree in the background. Question mark. Well, that's not a question. That was a statement. No, I didn't say you look like a scammer, Steph. I apologise. Sorry, tree. Try and write a full sentence so I can actually respond to it. I am sorry. I've obviously upset you. I'm not going to say if. I've obviously upset you. I didn't mean to upset you, Steph. And that explains covering the face. I understand that. And I didn't mean to upset you. I honestly, genuinely do not mean to upset anyone. It's just the way I communicate with people is just straight down the middle. There's no wishy-washy in that. I've tried, and there's no reason for you to have low self-confidence. You look lovely. You seem lovely on here. You honestly do seem genuine, and, you probably got as many issues as I have, Steph. I normally assume that most people have got problems and they don't even realise it. I am sorry too. I don't like anyone suffering with anything, mental health condition, physical disability, anything. I try my best not to harm anyone, unlike most GPs. Yes, I can understand that, Stephanie. I honestly can. Shall we start again, ladies? Ben's come and gone. See, that's the other thing that confuses me about TikTok. Ben's come and gone into the main box up the top, and yet he's not coming to the stream down the bottom. And I don't understand that bit. Thank you. And you, Mrs. London, I am sorry. Because you speak the way that you were brought up to speak. You write the way you were brought up to write. And like I said, I don't think the education... Are you under 30, both of you ladies? I haven't checked your profiles fully. Are you both under 30? Because generally I think the education in this country has fallen through the floor. You're 33. You're around about the right area. And, I'm 58. I probably do, Mrs. London. I totally agree with you. because people don't give me a chance to try and work with them so they can understand me and I can understand them. You probably are right. I've been thinking that all the time, but because no one will say anything, the general thing is, you're over 50. Oh, wow. Okay. Over 50 and you've got, right, okay. I think about 35, 40 years ago, I was just leaving the system when the education system changed. I went through the education system in this country and they taught you things. And the last couple of years, they wasn't teaching people things anymore. They was teaching people how to pass exams. They literally told us that. We've changed the curriculum. We've changed what we're teaching you to meet what the exams are probably going to be like. Before that point, people had a general education. Now it's all focused on passing an exam. So, having been through the end part of that, it didn't make much sense because, how do I explain it? It's like reading a story, but missing the middle pages out. You're reading the beginning and the end, and you know what happened in the end, but you don't know about the bit in the middle. And that's what... Exactly. And I do think if you've got the chance, home educate your children. Don't leave them to the state. The state education system isn't good anymore in this country. It was about 35 years ago, 40 years ago. But when they started focusing on passing exams, people were leaving school without any sort of like knowledge because they were just trained on how to pass an exam. All they got taught in this country after that was reading, writing, and passing exams. They didn't even get taught maths, most of them. Yes. You were in my generation. That's what, women were pushed off into the typing class. And there was a bloke in our year that wanted to do typing. And they wouldn't let him. So he took it up to somewhere or other. And they were forced to let him do typing amongst all the girls. And it wasn't like, I remember his name, Gary Zaman. And it wasn't like he was after the girls. I mean, he probably liked being in the class full of girls. Who wouldn't? Especially one of them. Oh, she was tiny, like size 6 and very attractive. But he generally wanted to learn typing. Hello, Heart J. Jenny, is that? See, that's the other thing I've got a problem with. We're going out on live on YouTube, Meet Me, and TikTok, by the way, Jenny. Yeah, typing and cooking and needlework. I mean, I was still in the year where needlework was taught to everyone. But at a certain point, it was like focused on girls. And I actually liked needlework, didn't like the teacher. She was a mad Irish woman and she would rap you over the knuckles just for talking. And it just wasn't good. It really wasn't. I mean, we had people with all sorts of... I went to speech therapy at the age of 5 and 6, which would have been he could have autism, but they didn't think about it back then. And the woman, seriously, the woman that was teaching me speech therapy was a large, heavy-built Welsh woman with long, unkempt black hair with a lisp. She was teaching me to say, round and round the wagged walk, the wagged rascal wan. Exactly like that. Live goal achieved. Check the goal and celebrate the moment. What live goal? I haven't set any live goals, have I? I've got 93 hearts, but I don't think I set a goal for that. Yes, I did, strangely enough. But then that's not difficult, is it? Because the Heathway is like the main road and everyone lived near it. If you say you live in Dagenham, you're near the Heathway or you're in Barking. I went to Five Elms School. So I was actually round the back of the school near Five Elms. but just by what used to be Safeway and Morrison's. It was the Merry Fiddlers pub originally, and the Becontree Heath petrol station. But yeah, I don't blame you for the way. I just find it a struggle. I know Reed Road. I used to know someone down there. You set it as fingers, hearts for your live go. Oh, did I? I'd forgotten I'd done that. I haven't sat down at TikTok for ages. I've only in the last couple of days. Because I used to do TikTok and like I'll show you my studio. Yeah, I'll switch over. There's my studio, and I used to do karaoke. How do you know Reed Road then, Mrs. London? I'm going to favourite both of you because you've been quite patient with me, and I do appreciate that. Thank you, ladies. Do you understand? Do both of you understand why I've got no friends? Because people don't get over the initial, oh, he's very abrupt, he's very rude, to find out if I'm actually a nice person. People don't get past that 99% of the time. I've never had a visitor. In 58 years, I have never had a visitor unless it was related to sex or I've got something you can help me with. Okay. Business. There's not much places for business. Well, there weren't when I left. There weren't many places for business down there. There was a little bit near the end, near Raynham Road. And there was a little bit near Reed Road beginning, I think. Just a couple on the corner. A little chippy used to be down there, I think. I got past it. I know, but I have this need to explain and to thank people for getting this far. Because yes, I know I come across as rude. Yes, I know I come across as offensive. But yes, for 58 years I've had to apologise for it. Because I don't mean to, and I don't like upsetting people. It seriously affects me more than it does them. This is London Laundrette. Oh, the Laundrette in Reed Road. Oh my God. I'm just trying to think, where was that? Reed Road's that. Churchholme Lane is that one. Reed Road's the one at the beginning. That was right down the end near Dagenham, near Raynham Road, I think, the Laundrette. I can't remember. It's been a long time. I've been about 8 or 9 years. Everything's moved round up the top. Let me move this window over. Oh, Steph. Right. Thank you. I've only just seen it. It's me. Thank you for the finger, Steph. Sorry. I see these come up, and because I'm not used to people coming in or sending me gifts, I don't think it's anything to do with me. I've just seen it's me. Thank you, darling. Opposite the sweet shop and Chinese. It has been a long time. I used to know someone called Liz Ebiger. She was 38, 40, that area in Reed Road. I'm thinking Reed Road used to have the electronics firm near the corner. But they closed down a long time ago. I don't remember. I've not been down there for about 10, 11 years. But you used to have the sweet shop. Oh, you used to have the laundrette. Oh, hold on. Mrs. London as in the London Laundrette chain. Is that what you mean? It's just sparked on me. Because no one... I get all the sorts of excuses, Mrs. London. I've never had... Since I was born, I've never had one visitor. Unless it's related to me helping them or we're in a relationship. I've never just had anyone, oh, I'm popping by. Do you want to have a cup of tea and a chat or something like that? Never. I mean, that's half the reason why I call 111, because eventually, if I get like this, I call 111, they send an ambulance round, I get someone to talk to for half an hour. Or in some cases, 2 or 3 hours, when it's really bad. And I don't know why. I think part of the problem, and I know this sounds weird, but I think part of the problem was when I went to school in Dagenham, the very first day, everyone swapped numbers. My dad didn't have a phone, didn't have a number. I was out of their circle from day one. And for the next 11 years, I never got invited out. Let's not talk about the family. They abused me as a child. So being at home with the family was not a pleasant situation for me. And they don't talk to me now. Even my cousin, who used to live half a mile away from me, used to drive past my place. But that's not what I want. I need to talk with people. I'm not into messaging. And this is what people don't get. They call it talking. This isn't talking. I'm talking and you're sending me messages. It's not the same. I need personal interaction, even if it's just like a voice. I prefer face-to-face, but even just on the phone. And, I mean, it's easier for everyone if they can actually see me, because I get confused quite a lot. And if I can just hear a conversation rather than read it, then that's half the problem. But I need the feedback from your face so I can try and judge whether I'm offending you or whether you're confused or lost. This is why I say you need the camera on. It's not just a childhood. Ever since I was abused in me wedding, in me marriage for 7 years, threatened with knives and scissors and all sorts of things thrown at me. I was abused for about 11 years as a child. I would just get hit at the say-so of my sisters because my sisters were never wrong and they never lie. Of course they don't. And I was undiagnosed with autism until 2011. So can you imagine how confusing the world's been? I mean, it hasn't got much better since I got the diagnosis. Because for the last 30 years, I think I've been underdiagnosed and I think I should have had PTSD because of the abuse as a child. And I've just come off 111 about 30 minutes ago saying more or less that. And it's like, oh, they understand and they're quite nice to people on 111. But despite the fact that I spoke to someone there 5-6 weeks ago, a clinician, and I told him about the PTSD and the trauma and the abuse and all this, and I said I've been underdiagnosed. He's still not on my diagnosis, despite the fact he said he was going to put all this down in notes and send that across to my GP. My GP hasn't called to say, I'm sorry, I've just read about the PTSD you think you've got. All they want to do is keep pumping more drugs into me without giving me any sort of treatment. Do you think I'm taking any medication they send me? I'm taking the ones that are necessary for the blood pressure and things like that. But recently they've sent me medication. They spoke to me about it and I said, they want to give me aspirin as a blood thinner. I said, no, I've got this aversion to aspirin because it killed my dad. And they prescribed it anyway. Fine, that's just more medication and more money that they're wasting because I take it out of the Dosset box and I throw it away. Knock at the door. Oh, I see. See, I have to try and work out what you're saying, Mrs. London. And he didn't answer the question I put to you a moment ago, but we'll wait for you to get back. Who's there still? Are you there still, Steph? Yes, Steph's still there. So where are you from, Steph? I'm trying to look up the camera, but I've got all the stuff going down on the screens. Where are you from, Steph? I'm over in, well, somewhere between Walthamstow and Chingford. West Midlands. Oh, nice area. Not so nice if you're sort of like slightly traumatized or you've got any sort of issues. Oh, I've got Ashley Cakes has joined the stream on Meet Me. We are on YouTube and TikTok at the same time, boys and girls. YouTube currently has no one. You have a look at Ashley Cakes. Ashley Cakes with a nice big corgi. Ooh, in Pattingham. New into the group, as they say. Hello, Ashley. Let's have a look at the other people that have been there. Haven't in Hertfordshire. Haven't I seen you before? Is that a joke? No. Haven't I seen Lauren before? She was here before. I'm sure she was. And then we've got someone from Dover. Jenny from Dover. Hello, Jenny. Nice to see you. Because I'm not sure what sort of dog that is. Oh, I like the hair, Jen. See, this is what makes me wonder. You know, a lot of men see women and they think, oh, nice tits, or oh, got nice legs, or nice ass. I go for the eyes, teeth, and hair. It's just, I am that sort of weird person. Elaine. I'm not going to say the last name in case it comes across weird on the microphone. Elaine, where are you? Cat Crazy. Yes, that makes 3 of us. I've got one done. Shall I put the cat cam on? Hold on. I'll put the cat cam on. There's the cat cam. You're in Oldham. Hello. Hello, Oldham. Welcome. Welcome to society. It's amazing. I've actually done 5 hours on YouTube before and not had anyone come in. I don't have anyone on social media. I don't have any friends on Facebook. I never have, really. The most I had was 3, and that was a few weeks ago. And they didn't last because they didn't engage. Lucky you. Lucky you what? Oh, don't you start, Elaine. Do you see what I've put up with, Steph? Lucky you. You do understand there's something like a 15-second delay on this. So when I ask a question, you're getting it 15 seconds later. So when you respond to the question and I've moved on, I don't understand what Lucky You was about. And I've got the short-term memory of a goldfish. He's so cute, Dan. I'm worried about my eldest black cat, though. He's 20 and he's very thin. Last time I saw a black cat go that thin, she had cancer and she died. So I'm just wondering. Lucky you what, Elaine? Sherry, I don't know. Oh, she's gone. I'm assuming it's a she. A name like Cherry. Who knows? So do you want to talk about anything? Anything? I'm starting to sound common. You on about people in your circle that you don't have. Why am I lucky not to have anyone to talk to? You need to explain that one, Elaine. Oh, you're surrounded by idiots and incompetents as well, are you? I mean, don't tell me. I'm not. I mean, I have no one to talk to, but I'm not totally isolated from the rest of the world. I know what's going on out there. I've just called NHS 111 because I've literally got no one to talk to. So they're going to call me back on a possibly private number, which I won't be able to pick up, which is going to cause me even more trauma. Isn't it? And that's after I've called the local mental health team and put the phone down on me again because they found me rude for saying I couldn't understand. They sounded muffled. Oh, I think you're rude. I'm going to use the zero tolerance policy. I think zero tolerance policy should be banned because there should be tolerance, at least from the clinical side, so they can understand people that have got a bad situation. I don't build the confidence because no one normally comes into my life. There's no confidence required. I've been on lives for 6 or 7 hours and no one's coming. I've been recording some of them and I'm doing this one to YouTube just to catalogue the fact that people believe, honestly, I'm making it up. I've got quite a lot of Meet Me from last year on there where you can see the chat streams and a lot of people going through the stream and not saying a word because a lot of people nowadays, you don't have to apologise, Steph. You haven't done anything wrong. That's another thing I tell people. Don't apologise for stuff you have no control of. Because genuine accidents, you can't apologise for. It was an accident. You can only apologise, in my mind, if you could have prevented what you're apologising for. For example, if I said to someone, please don't call me on a private number, and you call on a private number, then there's an apology required because you were told and you could have done it. And most of the time, it's lazy people that just don't want to do anything apart from pick the phone up and call you from a number that is obviously going to be private, which is ironic. From the public sector, they use private numbers. Think about that one. I even just explained it to the NHS 111 that if you're getting the mental health clinicians to call back, normally they're calling back people in a crisis. Normally that makes you anxious. And normally people that are anxious in a crisis won't answer private calls. And even she said, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, I was told 6 weeks ago they don't use private numbers, only to be called back from a private number. And me spend 4 hours chasing 111 because I kept getting called back from a private number that I can't answer. You see why my life has been hell. Even when I tell people, they just totally ignore it because they've passed it on to someone else that ain't going to read the notes. And I've had that so many times. Most people don't answer private calls. Why would you? It's like I've said to people that want to call me on a private number, my local council has now made the excuse they can't call out from their switchboard. I think we all know that's bollocks, boys and girls. I used to work in telecoms. I don't think it's possible to set a switchboard up you can only dial into. And the Housing Ombudsman are taking it on face value that they are always telling the truth. Really? Okay. Let's just think about that one. Public sector using private numbers. Confused is not. It's beyond confusion. It's like total madness. Isn't it, Caspi? This cat down here, every time I sit down at my desk, my studio desk, it's a bit dark still. Is that? Yes, Caspi. Where did he go to? You guys saw him. Oh, he's woke up. He's gone for the ham. I'm trying to get the black one to put weight on, and he's eating all the food. He's putting weight on hand over fist. I do worry about the black one, though. What's the best way of getting a cat to gain weight? I mean, I'll keep giving him handfuls of cheese. He loves cheese, bless him. But there's only so much cheese he can take. He's got something wrong with the jaw. And, 3. He sticks to me like a limpet, normally, the black and white one. The black one is the one I'm worried about. He's 20. And there's a tabby one in between these two. The black and white one's 8.5. The tabby one, about 7, I think. He was a rescue, so we don't really know his age. But we know Merlin's, the black one, he's 20. We've got him on record. Yeah, he's just finishing off the ham. And yet, all this time, no one on Meet Me. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4 people on Meet Me. And they haven't said a thing. Been no one on YouTube. I did try streaming to Facebook as well, but that doesn't seem to do very much either. Here he comes. My little limpet. You're right down there, Lumpy. You want to get over here so the blokes. Hello, Will has joined the stream on Meet Me Now. I'll have a look at the stats before we go on. Make sure that we're streaming all right. Yeah, we're streaming to 3 channels and not one dropped frame. Is WhatsApp still going? Facebook. So you do need to explain, because I've moved on like 3 or 4 times now, and is that app still going? Meet Me. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the title. Make sure it is called Meet Me. Yeah, it's still going. I've been on Badoo and, I'm on Facebook dating, Badoo, Tinder, Hinge. Weird people on Hinge. They all seem to be like middle class from really posh areas. And it's like, But let's put it this way. I went on a date on Saturday. which has really knocked my confidence because the date lasted 45 minutes and she had to make an excuse and go home. Oh, I need to go home now, she said. And it's like, I wish she would have just told me, I find that rude or offensive, or I don't like what you've said. Because obviously it must have been something I said. And I don't understand. I mean, I've been on dates before and they normally last 2-3 hours, 45 minutes. I mean, I don't even know if it's I wasn't looking at her tits enough. I've had that before when people have fed back. Oh, you didn't seem to look at my tits. Well, I'm a polite human being. I don't stare at, despite the fact she had a really nice figure, I don't stare at women's boobs. And yet some women have told me, oh, she just raped me or something. Oh, there's the NHS. I'll get back to you, boys and girls. See, that's why I didn't close the stream, because I know what they're doing. Hello, Annabelle. That was basically, are you still alive? Do you still need our service? It only takes 2-3 minutes. I've been down this rodeo a few times. So I'll get a connection calling back. It'll be mealy mouthed. Generally a woman. Not very many blokes, but generally a woman. Yeah, they're just checking up to make sure I hadn't killed myself. That's all they do. Once an hour they'll call and they'll say, oh, you're still in the queue. Bear with us. We're just making sure that you're still there. It's quite, humiliating, really. If they thought I wasn't still there, wouldn't you send an ambulance rather than make a phone call? Because if I wasn't still here, wouldn't I need more treatment quite urgently? So even the callbacks to make sure you're still there seem a bit weird when you think about why they're doing it. But at least I could understand her. It's the foreign people. Okay, the foreign sounding people in the mental health team that really aggravate me. Because instead of being like 111, and there's black people on 111 and Asian people on 111, and I can understand them every time. But when you get to the lazy people at my local mental health team, I don't really want to do this job, can I have your name, please? That's what they sound like to me. I don't think any of them are white. From my experience, I must have spoken to 15 different people there now. And they all seem to have some sort of thick accent on a cheap phone. And I think it's the phone that's more the problem than their accent. Because it is sort of all muffled. And I've said this time and time again to them. It's not new. And yet they don't do anything. And the problem I've got is just because I've had it from my GP. I put a complaint in almost as soon as I changed my GP because I called in saying I couldn't understand, or they called me saying they couldn't, and I said I couldn't understand them. They were muffled. And they basically accused me of lying. No one else has reported it. Oh, so I'm the first, but that doesn't matter. You know, no one else has reported it. Maybe no one else is like me and won't put up with not understanding you and will just say, and hope to put through to someone that they can understand. Maybe. Because most people don't want to complain or raise issues. But I won't put up with it. This is what I mean when, I don't know if it was you or Mrs. London, that I need to be more tolerant. I think I've been tolerant quite enough in my life, my dears. Kaz is in the room. Kaz is not in the room. I have tried to be tolerant. I've tried to help people. I've tried to be understanding. And yet the more I try, the more exhausted I get and the less progress there is in the conversation. Because the more I try, it slows the conversation down because then I have to ask them to repeat things. And, you know, I'm fed up of asking people to repeat things. Have I not been clear in my conversation? Because I help teach people English. Russians, Brazilians, Spanish. You name a country, I've got language lessons on YouTube in 28 different languages. 28. I don't speak all those languages. I use the subtitling system on YouTube. And that's how I did my lessons. For the people, I did it mainly because I spoke to, might have been Badoo, might have been Plenty of Fish. Someone came into a stream I was running once. And it was so sad. They'd been in this country like 25 years and their husband abandoned them. I can't remember if they were Chinese or Indian, one of the two. More or less at the same time, I had, you know, a Chinese person and an Indian person. I can't remember which one I spoke to that's triggered me. I think it was the Chinese person. And they'd had similar stories. They'd been in this country for 2 or 3 decades. They'd been married, and because they got old, their husband abandoned them for a younger woman. 2 people. And somehow I was made aware that they were using a translator. Because I can tell when the people are using a translator, it just looks wrong. And so I asked them via the translator that, you know, how do you find life living in London when you don't know the language? And she says she doesn't go out, she doesn't have friends, she doesn't do anything. Everyone gets it for her. And it's like, well, you can't do that. So I said to her, I'll make some little lessons, you know, where's the doctor? Where's the hospital? Can you help me? I don't want this. I want that. Yes, no, please, thank you. All the standard stuff that gets you about. And I did that on YouTube. And I thought, how can I do this so it's easy for everyone? So I've set my YouTube channel to automatically put subtitles on everything. You can turn it off on the other posts. But on the language ones, if you go in and you've set your phone to your language, for example, and you go into those lessons, then you can go through and I read out words in English on the screen. And in the subtitles, it will give you the language in your language. So it has the English word, and underneath that, usually, the subtitle will give you your language. And well, that's an English lesson. Because you've got the English word, you've got your language word, and you just listen to me, and I tell you how to pronounce the word. And I normally tell people, don't worry about getting it accurate, just as long as it sounds similar. Because most people, especially in my experience on 111, when you get through to a clinician, seriously, clinicians on 111, half the time you can't understand what they're saying either. So as long as people understand what you're saying, it doesn't matter if you're getting it 100% right. And I've said this to 2 or 3 people who've been trying to help recently. Just try to say the words and people will try and help you. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be clearly spoken like me or, you know, a BBC newsreader or something. Although I do find some of them difficult to hear now. when they brought the regional accents in as okay about 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, it might have been there. Regional accents are okay as long as you're, regional from upper middle class areas, sort of thing. You never get anyone from sort of like East London presenting the news. Oh, here's the news now. Trump's made a other fuck up now. Never get anyone from East London doing the news, do you? No. You might get East London Grammar School or something like that, but you never get East London Comprehensive. Oh, hold on. We've had a whole bunch coming up here. You're doing the heart still. 660 hearts. Thank you for that, Steph. I mean, it's all right for the BBC to say, oh, we take regional accents now. Yeah, they only take regional accents from the middle class and above. Not us poor people. We can't go and present the news. Not even on when they used to have, I don't know what the BBC London's like news-wise, but when they used to do regional news, it was always someone rather, glamorous and from a grammar school. They weren't from a comprehensive. They wouldn't be able to comprehend, would they? Oh dear. That's why I used to like Terry Wogan, because he broke all the rules. He had an accent. It was a thick accent back in the 70s. And all these guidelines were just guidelines, aren't they? I stopped watching the news ages ago. We had two come and go. I wish I knew what that meant. There's like on TikTok, there's a listing above, and there's all the chat below. And in theory, the people in the chat should be in the listing. You are. But sometimes I get people talking and they don't appear in the list in the who's online. That's confusing as well, Steph. Still no one on YouTube. And we had someone called Will come in on Meet Me. Let me have a look at Will. Young American Historical. What's a historical American? Does that make sense to anyone? I've even had people coming into, was it here or on Meet Me, I think? Might have been Meet Me yesterday. Pretending to be female. Just because I put a box up. Oh, I haven't even put the box up. Let me put the box back up. I'll make that female only. 2 minutes. There we go. And the reason I put female only is because I don't like men. Not just sexually. I just don't like men. They're normally very arrogant, very aggressive, very rude, and not very honest. They're not nice. How you women sleep with men, I don't understand it. I mean, thank you that you do sometimes. But how you do that, I really don't understand, Steph. Because I only come across a fraction of the men that you would see in day-to-day life. And most of the ones I come across, I wouldn't give the time of day on or spit on them if they were on fire. And yet, a lot of women sleep with men. And it's like, how do you tolerate that? But there we are. So that was the hourly call. So I imagine about 6 o'clock, they'll probably call, and it'll be the same flim flam that I get from, I'm sorry to hear you in a bad situation. Oh, I'm sorry to hear this. I'm sorry to hear that. And it's like, well, I'll send these notes over to your GP. He'll call you tomorrow and nothing will get done. They'll try and up the dose of some medication which you're not taking anyway because you told them you weren't going to take it and then prescribed it anyway. Women can. I'm not saying women are perfect. But from a man's point of view, you've got the worst end of the stick, if you pardon the expression I've just realized. Because men don't know what it's like to be a woman. Because men don't know what it's like to have another person inside them. Unless you're gay, of course. But generally, run-of-the-mill heterosexual men don't know what it's like to be so vulnerable to let someone else inside their body. And I find it incredible that you women do that at all. I honestly do. And I've got my little child there fast asleep. Oh, bless. I don't understand that boy. He loves me so much. And yet it gets on my nerves. I do find that women, this is why I don't want men around, because women are more understanding. I think that's what it comes down to. I couldn't explain any of this to a man because they get to the first or second sentence and then they start scraping their knuckles along the floor as they leave me, you know. Whereas women, some women, can be more tolerant. I mean, you have to be. You're born and you know from the get-go you're probably going to end up looking after everyone around you. And that's a bad life to be brought into. And I just like, yeah, I can understand that as well. Because some women can be, for want of a better phrase, quite bitchy. And especially if you're attractive, they will just be hyper bitchy if they think, yeah, oh, I totally agree with that. But then everyone can. I mean, it would take a little bit more intelligence than most men have got to be two-faced. Because most men, what you see is what you get. WYSIWYG men. It's the ones that are slightly more deceiving and intelligent that can be two-faced. But with men, it's like, with women, it can be quite second nature. But I think that's because of the way women are brought up. You know, around your mum, you do one thing. Around your brothers and your dad, you do something else. So you're taught to be two-faced from the get-go. Boys aren't taught that. It's like, well, just be honest and tell them what you think. And we should stop doing this to children. We really should. Let children, don't educate, not instruct, is what I think we should be doing with children. We should inform them what the actual thing is. This is why I say religion should be taken off the subject until 16. Don't indoctrinate and brainwash children into believing that something we can't actually demonstrate to be real exists. Exactly. If they ask a question, then you give them an honest answer. Not a biased answer or a made-up answer. Oh, that'll be Santa Claus bringing the... Santa Claus doesn't exist any more than the Tooth Fairy or most deities ever have in the history of religion. And yet, this is why when you see these programs on YouTube going on about, you know, gender-affirming care, I don't call it gender-affirming care. I call it gender-abusing care. Because genders don't exist. Only two genders exist, male and female. And if you think you're non-binary, then I would recommend a psychiatrist or a sociologist, because it's called delusion. And if you found a doctor that thinks it's not a delusion, then they should be struck off, because they've got a delusion as well. And all this stuff that's going on with, you know, what I've said, it's, you know how it's come about? Because about 10 or 15 years ago, someone at the top of WPATH, basically the trans activist brigade that changed their name to make it sound more official, because they changed their name to the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. And it was the Douglas something clinic. It was named after a person. But when they changed their name to make it sound like a formal association, which it isn't, it's just a matter of activists, They then started bullying the publishers at Webster's Dictionary in America. And they said, if you don't change the definition of gender to what we say it is, then we'll out you as transphobic. And luckily, they had someone senior at Webster's as well inside the organization. And they all knew all the ins and outs of it. And they got Webster's to change the dictionary definition of gender about 10 or 15 years ago. And then they had the ammunition to turn around and say, well, the dictionary defines gender as blah, blah, blah. It's not just binary. Well, yeah, but if you go back 20 or 30 years, the dictionary definition of gender was either male or female. You haven't got to go back far. But if you keep going back, because I've done this over the weekend, you know, this is sort of thing. Hello, Lucy Lou. This is sort of thing I do when I'm bored. And I went back, did searches for old copies of the dictionary, looking for old definitions of gender. And all the way back, up until about 10 or 15 years ago, it was male or female. And then it all changed because someone got threatened with being outed as transphobic. Shouldn't be down to one person to change a word, should it? It was on this case. Gender was changed by one person. Usually goes through a committee. They have meetings about whether they should change the definition. That's how the OED rolls. They don't just, oh, the definition has changed. They have to demonstrate that, you know, in society, people are using it differently. That's why it takes a lot to change a word in the OED. A lot, or another dictionary changes it, and then it gets bypassed, and it's, well, they've said it's that. Have we got evidence to support that? Yes, we have. It's changed. So it bypasses all that if another dictionary has changed the word. Hello, my little friend. Yes, here's the other one. Come here, my little tabby one. There's my little tabby one. All together. Hasn't he got the prettiest face? And you know, where it'll sit in my arms for hours sometimes. You're right, Tabs. Hmm? Oh, he's purring away. Oh, bless. You're right there, babe. I'll pull the microphone over. There you go. You can hear me better then. I'm glad I sorted this microphone out over the weekend. Tabsy. He's just a little purring machine. You want to get off? No? I think he's quite comfortable there, you know. I've never been able to catch him on microphone. You want to go down? Go on then. Oh, his claws. No, not through the cable. Oh, God. Oh, come on, Tabs. Don't ruin everything. They come over and ruin everything. I didn't realise he was purring that much. It was only when I picked up. Don't sneeze over the microphone. Don't shout at baby. I can hear you saying it. Don't shout at baby. He's the youngest one, by the way. Look at this sausage down here. SB. Yes, okay. Tabs. Tabs, do you want to come over? Come. No, he'll go away in a moment. At most, he normally spends 10 minutes with me. Please don't destroy the monitor tabs, please. I do need to replace the monitors as well. I need proper HDMI ones. These are the old VGA. And the colour quality isn't very good. It's not accurate between the two screens. Oh. Right. Oh, he's moved. There we are. Oh, and you can still see him on camera. Would you stop doing that to the cable, son? Hey? If I sit up, do you want to come? Okay. There we go. I think he just wanted to get off anyway. He was struggled by the cable. I have to work out some sort of arrangement for this cable. There's got to be a way of getting that round there and in there. Maybe I can, you know. Oh, I've just realised there's a hole in the back of the desk and I can feed it in through there. It's routing it round the back of the desk that's the problem. Because it's got to go in a corner and all that. I don't know. Anyway, where were we? Is it getting up to 5 o'clock? Yes, it's approaching 5 o'clock, which is when they want to start getting fed. I will have to keep an eye on Merlin, the black one. He's sitting in there. He likes being by himself anyway, Merlin. He didn't really like it when I got the other two cats over the years. It's like, no, just me and you, Dad. Just me and you. Do you not understand this? And yet there they are. Show you the karaoke screen and you can see both of them then. There we go. Wandering round. The black and white one is Caspy and he's wandering around just hoovering up all the food. It seems a bit pathetic that in an hour and a half I'll be feeding them again. These two are putting weight on at the expense of Merlin. I'm sure they are. They're eating him out of house and home. Caspy. They're both munching. I don't know. Back to the main studio. There we are. You're right, Fatso. I'm losing weight, so why aren't you? I am losing weight. Very slowly, but I am losing weight. Someone said love the cats. Al Richardson. Love the cats. Got slightly distracted there because of the cats. You know what it's like. Anyway. How long have I been on here now? An hour and 20 minutes. Still no one in YouTube. No one. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people join on Meet Me. No one said a word. And the only conversation, ironically, I've had is with 2 women in here on TikTok. That's bizarre. I even had someone come in that was unbanned this afternoon. She came in. What was her name again? Angel something or other. Angel Believer. I don't know what the believer bit is. I don't know. But I blocked her because we were getting on really well when I was doing streaming. But I had to block her because she got so annoying. Because every time she'd come in, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You need to turn your volume up. You need to turn this up. And I kept testing and testing and testing and testing and testing. And the volume was fine. As far as I could hear on the recordings. And I was recording it. I've just recently started recording it via TikTok. So basically what you're getting is what's on the recording. Been listening back to the recordings. Okay, now I've got the sound deck. It's a lot easier to adjust the sound. But the recording weren't any bad when I was listening it back. The microphone was slightly lower than it should have been, but it could still clearly hear me. So that's why I blocked her, because she became annoying. Literally, like, every time she'd come in, oh, I can't hear you. You know the old joke about the Doctor Who and going into TARDIS, oh, you've redecorated. I don't like it. But there we are. I am hungry, though. This is what dieting does to you. It makes you hungry. 1.1k. Oh, bless you. They've moved it. Why have the hearts moved? There's something. I've earned 9 cents. Is that why it's moved? Because I've earned 9 cents. How how have I earned 9 cents? I used to know someone that does doesn't do streaming on it, does TikTok. But it's that non-creative, idiotic stuff where she's doing voiceovers and, there's a voice and she's doing some video to some piece of audio that she's got off TikTok. And a lot of the time it's God bless you and thank God for this and thank God for that. And the more you mention the G word, the more idiotic and sublime you sound to me. I mean, I don't mind you occasionally because, a lot of like Portuguese and Filipino women and Brazilian women are brought up with that in their culture. I know you can't not mention it sometimes. This comes back to what Mrs. London was saying. I do have tolerance for it. But when you this woman started getting to know me more, and the more she got to know me, the more she kept saying God this and God that. And then when they start saying God bless you or God will bless you or God will help you, and no, they won't. No one will help me. God will be the least person to help me. I'd be more likely to receive help from Harry Potter than a deity. Jerica, hello, welcome to the room, Jerica. Goodbye, Jerica. How did she come and go without being on the list? Are they the swipes, do you reckon? Because if that's the way, then people aren't swiping through this video very much. Oh, do you see them washing each other? Oh, bless. Kimberly Shaw, is that a swipe through? That's a swipe through. How are you, young Kimberly? Let me have a little nosy, see what your profile's like. Kimberly Shaw, young, going by the picture. Vanessa liked my photograph. Steph started following me, and Zazan Mamtazayev is following me 21 minutes ago. Vanessa liked my photo. Yeah, that's not someone I would follow normally. Going by the fact, what I look for in people, because I've started going through unfollowing everyone that doesn't speak English. Because if they don't understand my content, then what's the point in following them? Because I don't understand theirs either. That's a mutual thing. Then I go through removing the follows from people that don't create their own content and only share stuff. Because, it's probably something I've already seen. I don't need to see it twice. And then I go through and delete all the stuff that's religious. Can you imagine how much I remove just on the religious basis? And then I delete people where they haven't got a real photograph or they've only got a colour or a solid picture. If it's not them, they get removed. That's the way I'm doing it now. I've already lost about 200 today alone, but, out of 500. I only want to follow content that I'm going to be interested in, that's creative and I can understand. And out of all those, if you don't engage with me, if you follow me back, for example, I expect you to engage with me. I mean, at the moment, it is just there to make the 500 up. But I think most of that I could easily delete. Most people don't engage with each other on TikTok. Oh, they're having a little rough and tumble. It's quite fascinating watching them on TV. Tabs. I don't like it when Caspi starts using his back legs because he can get a bit rough with his claws. Between each other, they're all right. It's when they start having a go at the eldest one. It's a bit... Oh, that'll be a first. Did I follow you and Mrs. London back yet? I'm sure I did. No, I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Where's Mrs. London on the list? Hold on. I am following you. Right, hold on. Where's Mrs. London? Mrs. London, where are you? It wasn't that long ago, was it? Yeah, she's there. Female living in London. If you leave me messages, that would be good. I don't think I've looked at Mrs. London's profile yet. No content. Oh, I love her profile. It's one of those, you know, the advertising hoarding things about ice lollies and that's available. Oh. Oh, I like the ice. I like the ice lolly poster, Mrs. London. Oh my good lord. What is the time? Coming up to 5 o'clock. Shall I give it a bit of a break? I need to charge the phone up anyway because it needed charging about an hour and a half ago. Oh, no, it's not that bad. It's 60%, just under. I've had a message. Ooh, from Tesco. Here's a thing. I tried adding spray starch onto my order for Tesco's last week. They don't do spray starch to be delivered. Weird, don't you think? I can bulk buy it from Amazon, but Tesco don't do it online. Mind you, it doesn't look like I'm going out anytime soon. I've had such bad experiences with dating over the last month or so. I went out with someone. I met up with someone about 5-6 weeks ago in Dartford. I live in Chingford, so it's quite a trek. We got on like a house on fire for 3-4 hours. I got home, and about 4 or 5 hours after we left and we all got home, she sent me a message saying, it was lovely being with you, but I don't think I'll see you again because you seem to have too much energy for me. I have never in my life been accused of having too much energy. Well, apart from that weekend where we had sex for like 36 hours on, and she didn't complain about that. Not this woman, the one that was 20 years ago. She didn't say I've got too much energy. And that's the only time I've ever had a lot of energy. So I think she might have been being polite, but to me, polite doesn't really help because I left confused. The following day, I went on a date with a Russian that proposed to me after 90 minutes. It's literally true. The following day, I went on to a date in Greenwich with a Russian woman who was really attractive and got on really well with. Again, she texted me she wanted to marry me after 90 minutes while I was still with her, and then blocked me after I left. We don't know what I'd done wrong, if I did anything wrong. And then, as I say, I went on a date that lasted 45 minutes in East Finchley just a few days ago. And I don't know what I said to offend anyone. So maybe I should have looked at her tits more. You know how some women are proud of their bodies and they just like to be admired? Maybe she was one of them. I go out my way not to look at women's boobs. And yet, I genuinely, about 30 years ago, I did get told that the only reason I lost out to this woman to the other bloke is because she wanted me. She invited me round when her husband weren't there. They were separated and they were going through a divorce and all this sort of stuff. And what she wanted me to do, apparently, why people can't just say, fuck me now, was literally get through the door and rip her clothes off and fuck her there. I didn't know. I was a nice boy. But there we are. There we are indeed. Oh, look at that. It looks like, I bet I've blocked this woman already. Say hello to Sumi on Badoo. Now, I say I bet I've blocked this woman already because a lot of the women from Thailand, especially, but also from African countries, where they put London or some other UK city or town. I mean, the infamous one was Daventry Runway. No one lives in Daventry Freight Terminal. It's just one of those random places they've looked up on the internet. And where they put down anywhere in the actual content, they don't live where they've put, I just report them. Fake profile, fake location. And so these people can still message me, apparently. But when I go to read their message, it comes up with, she's not been blocked. But then she's only half my age. And I think she's not in this country. Just going by the photograph, that does not look like she's in this country. Do you know why? Because the picture is washed out as though it's in Africa with all that sunlight. I'm good at photography. Let's have a look at the profile. I am single, looking for a serious partner for a relationship. I have a kid, but not married. Why would the kid be married if she's only 27? Okay. I'm currently in Uganda. There we go. I told you it was Africa. Even that one, look. To me, that says Africa because of the way it's all washed out. Everything looks milky. So you know what I'm going to do. Block, fake profile, fake location, submit. There you go. That was almost pointless. I even spoke to someone on Badoo from Thailand a couple of weeks ago. And I tried explaining that if you're after someone that wants a Thai bride, putting yourself in Croydon isn't the best place. Not many Thai women live in Croydon, I said. And she said, oh, but I look for a husband. And I said, yes, but if a husband is looking for you, they're not going to find you unless you're in Bangkok. Because that's generally what the white people over here would be putting in to look for women like you. But I live in Croydon. I find people in Croydon. And I said, do you know where Croydon is? Croydon, UK. I said, yeah, but seriously? I've been to Croydon a few times. Never seen any Thai people there. If I was looking for a Thai bride, I wouldn't be looking in Croydon. I would not be looking in Croydon at all, I said. And most people in the West, in Europe, looking for a Thai bride are going to put in the search details Bangkok. Because you're not supposed to change your location to find someone. You're supposed to search, I said to this woman, in the other location. I put Croydon. Too ignorant, too stupid, or just naive. Either way, I think I'm doing her a favour by reporting her. It's wasting their time because they get reported, they get blocked, they create another account, put another location, Daventry Freight Terminal, for instance. Oh, I've had a viewer. Good grief, I've had a viewer in YouTube. Can you believe it? It's taken the best part of 90 minutes and I've had a viewer. Who are you, viewer? Come on, I'm still here. Talk to me, damn you. I haven't had a viewer on YouTube for the best part of 2 years. This is amazing. There we are. My baby is down there still. Caspi. Here he is. Oh, Daddy, I'm here. I know, he's beautiful little. You are going to look after Merlin? Yes, he will. I better start looking up funeral arrangements for Merlin. I don't think he's got long left, bless him. He's getting thinner and thinner each day. And I think he's got lumps on his back, near his legs. I think he's got cancer as well. There's no point taking him round to the vets. They all just want to put him down. I'm making him, he doesn't seem to be in pain. So I'm looking after him as best I can. I'm trying to fatten him up as well. So he doesn't look like his young self, but then that was like 15 years ago. So you can't expect the cat to look the same all the time. Oh, it's the light in the background. Yeah. I'm thinking it's quite bright in him. You're right, baby. Dinner in an hour? He's virtually asleep down there, you know. Because he doesn't go asleep, this one. He just stays on standby. He's like a sort of like a Toshiba TV. You can turn the red light off, but he's still on standby behind the standby sort of thing. Is it Toshiba? There was a firm. You know, when people started getting, we're leaving things on standby, it's costing a lot of money. There was a TV company I seem to recall where they thought, well, if we put it on standby and it goes into red, well, what if they press it again and it turns the LED out, but it's still in standby? They were cheating. Seriously, there was a TV company that did that. To make it look as though you weren't keeping the TV on all the time, they turned the LED off, but they kept the standby circuit on. It's like, Some of the old CRT manufacturers used to do that as well. When you had a physical click, click button, well, the click, click button would turn on, but it would turn on really quickly. And there was no standby light or anything. And they didn't tell you this in the instructions. It's only years late when you come to repair them. When you plugged it in, the old CRTs, some of the power was being used to keep the heaters warm on the TV tube. So thus wearing out your TV tube. So as soon as you plugged it in, the tube was on. And then when you switched it on, it would come on straight away. Because the heaters were already heated and the electrics only take like half a second to warm up and it's there. And it was amazing. I think they were Toshibas. I think a lot of TV manufacturers used to do the same trick. So there was a standby and there was this non-official standby that used to keep the heaters on. So you could turn the TV off and it would just keep like 12 volts going through the TV tube to keep the heaters on. Unfortunately, the heaters are the ones that make the TV work. They have a coating on them, and an emissive coating, an electronic emissive coating. And that's the one that generates the electrons that do all the work. And if you leave the heaters on that, the coating wears off, and eventually the screen gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And then it's useless again because you can't recoat them. I mean, there are places in America now, because no one's making cathode ray tubes anymore. There's places in America that will recondition and redo the tube. And they'll cut the tube off, the neck, and they'll re-vacuum it. They'll repair it and, refurbish it. And then they'll even do the phosphors, I think. And then they'll seal it all back up and draw a vacuum again. Probably better vacuum than it had in the first place. You can get them refurbished, but only in, I think it's like scientific areas and that, where they need a cathode ray tube. For some reason, they just need a cathode. They need something analog. The digital version won't do, apparently. I think in space, you can't use LCDs or something. A lot of them aren't space ready. The closest they got was the flat panels in the space shuttle. But it's like quite old technology that is approved for space use. Bless, look at him. I'm so hungry, Steph. Oh, Steph. Can I do a bit of karaoke for you? Do you fancy a bit of a sing-song, young Steph? Oh, I'm hungry. We are aware of your call. Yeah. I'm trying to lose weight. I need to lose 25 pounds. At least. I'll need to at least lose 25 pounds. It's very slow. I've had 2 bits of cereal today. I've got proper cereal coming tomorrow, shredded wheat and Weetabix. The reason I've gone down that route is because I'm trying to lose weight. They're pre-measured. They're in biscuits already. So 2 biscuits and that's it. But it's not easy. I just want some fish and chips. Maybe I will, you know, but I've got fish and it's so bloody expensive getting stuff delivered. Pie and chips and a Saveloy for the kids came to about 30 quid. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I know. I totally agree with that sentiment, Steph. But I've got some nice clothes in there. I've had 2 views on YouTube. Who was the other one? Sneaked in under the wire. I've got some nice clothes in there, nice shirts that I bought a few years ago, and I can't get into them. You know, purple and tailored clothes, and I used to look nice. But I honestly don't think it makes any difference whether I look nice or not, because most people don't want to talk to me when we do go out. I just broke up with another would-be girlfriend over the weekend. Brazilian, reasonably attractive, looks like a bloke, but I've been out with Italian women that look like blokes. Couldn't speak a word of English, and it was getting frustrating that I was doing all the translating. Been going out with her, went out 3 times during the week. I even took her down to a Brazilian restaurant on Camden on Sunday, I think it was, or Saturday. Right, Saturday, I think. And the restaurant was all right. The food was, it was well cooked. But the conversation wasn't really there. I think she liked me, but she didn't show that she liked me. The closest I got to her was holding her hand when I was going round with her on Sunday, so I didn't lose her. And I think she liked me, but there was no expression of how much she liked me or what. And it's hard to really get into someone if you're doing all the work to communicate. And I don't mind helping out, but it was literally everything was on my phone nearly all the time until that last meal. And then there was the Filipino beforehand that I'd known for 4 weeks or 5 weeks. Only been out with her twice, and once was just to walk the dog. And it's like she never knew when she was going to get time off because of her employment. She was a live-in carer. And she wouldn't call me, and I can't just call anyone, just out of interest. I'm one of those people where I've never been available to call anyone because they've always said, oh, don't call there, don't call me then, don't call me there. And I've never felt at liberty just to pick the phone up and call anyone. And yet they can contact me whenever they want. It's still like that now. People can contact me, and if they call from a private number, they'll complain that I didn't pick up. And yet, when I try to call other people from the same organisation, I can't get them to call me back. But other people can call me from that organisation, and it's me that's wrong. So I've never been able to call anyone. I've never been able just to knock on the door in passing. You know how you know people in your area, oh, let's knock on the door, see how they are. Do they want anything while I'm going by? Never been able to do that. And it does wear after 58 years. You're right down there, Casper. Should we get some chicken and chips? I like chicken. I like chicken too. It's quite filling. Might have a think about it. I don't know. It all gets a bit much. Please don't just give me one word answers, Steph, because I've lost track of what that yes was to. Oh, yes, go and get chicken and chips, right. Please don't give one word answers because it is so annoying. Because then I've got to try and think back, what was the yes to? You don't understand how infuriating for autistic people it is just to get single word answers. I was brought up by an old Victorian. Mr. Hooper, his name was. Oh, he was very strict. He used to make people sit on the floor cross-legged if they got things wrong. And it wasn't very clean. It was one of those wooden, all dusty, wooden flooring things. And the cleaners never seem to come round either. Once a week, I think the cleaners came round. And so we was always taught to respond to someone by mentioning what they just asked you in the question. So, is that car blue? I think the car there is blue would be the answer, not yeah. You know? Because if, like here, I'm not getting direct feedback from anyone, so I don't know what you're listening to and what you're responding to. In real life, you wouldn't be doing that. But because there's a delay, because you have to type, then the conversation moves on. Because if I just waited for a response, some people don't respond. I'd just say something and no response comes. And it makes for a bit of a boring recording and a boring stream and a bit of a boring thing for me. But I've done this for years, Steph. I used to do like a radio show. I used to do some karaoke. I used to play some music on Meet Me because you can get away with more on Meet Me. I used to play some tunes, do a bit of talking. People would come into the box and we'd have a 3 or 4 way conversation. It'd be a nice little 3 or 4 hours sometimes. But that was 3 or 4 years ago. And then suddenly everyone left. I think when Plenty of Fish stopped doing streaming. That was a couple of years ago now. And then everyone went to their own little bits and no one followed me. And so I had to start again 2 years ago when Plenty of Fish stopped their streaming services. I go live because I'm lonely. I go live to engage and converse with people. But the most I get is what you and Mrs. London have done, and typing. No one wants to come in on camera, very seldom. And when they do, they don't want to have their camera on. And it's so... I'd rather talk to you while you're typing than talk to you in voice without being able to see your face. It doesn't make much more sense, but it's less irritating. You know what I mean? Do I know what I mean? That is the big understanding. We Are Light keeps coming back in. But We Are Light, I don't know if you understand English because you very seldom say anything, We Are Light. She'll just come in and sit there. I know, but if you're going to sit there, it looks weird. You might be quiet, but then you don't even say hi. It just looks weird what you constantly do. And, you know, out of politeness, I don't know what society you were born and brought up in, We Are Light. Because apparently in Britain now, our society is insular and we're taught to be insular at school. Yeah, but at least say, hi, I won't be able to talk, but I'm listening, or something like that. It's called being polite, We Are Light. I shouldn't have to explain this in a modern society. It's like... Right, but I'll give you a simile. It's like, you know, all these notices over the underground now about, you know, no sexual staring, that sort of thing. It's like that. To me, it's like staring at me across the tube carriage. At least occasionally look down at your phone, pretend you're not really staring. You don't do that. You come in, and this is the most I've had out of you since you started coming in. Okay, I'm listening. Where are you based, We Are Light? Are you based in the Far East? The Southeast Asia? We're not allowed to call it Far East. Southeast Asia. And do you work in a shop? because I think I've spoken to you before. I'm in Scotland. Oh, I spoke to someone in the Far East and she was working in Scotland. And I can understand that. But you're in Scotland and working. But you've come in, what hours do you work? You've come in at night when I've been doing me 8 o'clock streams. You can't be working 24/7, surely. Oh, you work in your own private shop, do you? They're the only ones that would be able to do that. Because they get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and don't go to bed until midnight. So they only get 6 hours of their own time, and half of the time they're asleep. I do feel sorry for shop workers, people that own their own shop, the corner shops and that. Because they literally do start at the crack of dawn. I never see you stream. And the problem with TikTok is I can't join your stream anyway. This is what's so infuriating. Because I've got bad thumbs, I've got rheumatism or arthritis, no one gives a monkeys. I've told people for 25 years about my thumbs hurting. Oh, it's just wear and tear. 25 years ago, I was half this age. Wear and tear. Right, okay. That was bollocks. They didn't want to know. So I can't hold a phone long enough to be in a conversation, right? And I can only do it. This is why I do studio here at a PC. Because then the microphone I'm not holding, the camera I'm not holding, I'm sitting down, my thumbs aren't being stressed, and I can talk to you. And you can come into my stream if you want. Right, do you use a phone? We are live. We are light, rather. Because the only way you can get onto TikTok in a stream is on a phone. It doesn't work on anything else. It has to be a phone. That's why I don't join. I used to on Plenty of Fish and that. I used to go around before I went live. I used to go around for a few hours and join people and have a little chat with people. iPad won't work. Gaming PC won't work. It has to only be a phone. I've checked this over the last 2 years with TikTok. It has to be a phone. If you want to do gaming and things like that, then you need to use it soon as I can invite my co-host. See, I think because I can do that on a PC, I can invite people to co-host. And if you're on a phone, I can add people in and they can come and get in a box. I've been streaming on YouTube for now nearly 2 hours and I've had 2 views. 2 in 2 hours. And that's 2 more than I normally get. I know. I've seen your bits on TikTok. Yeah, I podcast all over the world. YouTube goes all over the world. If you search for that, billygibbons.me, you will get my page, and on that page, it will have all the links in the top right-hand corner. X. Just search for billygibbons.me on any of the dating apps. Or the dirty little secret, because that comes up with me as well. But there we are. Shall we go? What is it now? 5 o'clock? If I do an order now, because I'm being supported by Steffi, you see. She wants me. She wants me to get the chicken. Don't you, Steph? I really do. I am genuine about, I do like the picture. You've got a really nice figure on you. How you're, oh, hold on. Walking on sunshine. I like that. Walking on sunshine. That used to be one of my favourite karaoke tunes, by the way, Steph. I'm walking on sunshine. Get the chicken. Oh, that's all I can think about now, especially with this one down here. God, does he like being hand? This is the weird thing with this one. If I pour him some milk or if I tear him some chicken, he won't touch it. But if I hold milk in a glass and let him drink out of the one I'm drinking out of, he'll drink it. I did the same last night, 10 minutes holding the glass, and he finished a glass of milk off. Not supposed to have milk, gives them diarrhea. Most cats are lactose intolerant, so they're not supposed to have milk. I normally, occasionally, that's what I need to put on for tomorrow, the shopping for tomorrow, a can of evaporated milk. They like a bit of evaporated milk every now and then. What was I talking about again? Chicken and chips. Oh, yeah, and it's like chicken. I can tear bits of chicken off on KFC or whatever. Okay. Put it in bowls so it doesn't stain everywhere with the grease. I know, I'm one of those. I mean, I'll put it down the carpet. The grey carpet in here is okay because it's flecked. And so it doesn't show little marks, which is why I got it in the first place, because I've got a cat. I've got 2 cats and it doesn't show. I do keep it clean though. But he wants me to hand feed him the chicken. I can put bits of chicken down and he'll just walk past it. But if I pick the same chicken up and then tear it off in little strips and... Oh, thank you, Dad. It drives you up the wall, it really does. And I've noticed Merlin started that last night as well. Put some ham down, wouldn't it? I tore little bits of ham off and held it in my thumb. And up until last night, I've never seen Merlin eat of it in anyone's hands. He would always just look down at the floor and say, put it down. And you put it down, he eats it. It was the other way around yesterday. He looked at it on the floor, then looked at me and as if to say, well, he did the same thing when he moved in 9 years ago. He just looked at me as if to say, well, bring the food here then. I'm in here now. Just walked in from the doorstep. It wasn't my cat. He just walked in, looked at the food I just put on the doorstep for him in the bowl. From the kitchen, because he could see the front door from the kitchen, he looked at the floor. And then he looked at me. And then he looked at the floor again. And like the humble servant that we are to cats, I picked it up, closed the door behind me, walked in, put the bowl in front of him, and he had the food. And then after he'd eaten half the bowl, he walked into the living room, jumped up on the sofa, curled up, went to sleep 4 hours, and he hasn't left me since. He has been in trouble sometimes, though, especially when his mate died. Never seen a cat get depression until him. And he just lost him for like 2 months until the ashes came back. And he was just sitting outside in the wind and rain, looking at the spot that he used to see his friend. And when it was my neighbour, she was only like 3 doors away. When she got the ashes back, we picked Merlin up. I took him in. And he just looked at the box and sniffed with the ashes in. And then he jumped out of my arms and walked out the door as if to say, oh, that's where he's gone. Oh, bless him. And he went back and curled up in a corner and went to sleep for a few hours until he came in that evening. He was fine then, but up until that point, he wouldn't leave. You don't know, do you, Casper? He'd have a new Merlin, poor little man. Not the young Merlin that used to tackle. I've seen Merlin attack Rottweilers. He don't attack unless he's sort of like in the middle of can't back off anymore. But he was in this situation where there was a dog and it was in his way and there was no way around him. It was a narrow footpath it was on. And the dog came over to him. Wrong move. Oh, I've never heard a dog cry like that before. Whoa. That was bad. Wasn't my name. I didn't choose the name for him. And I did think it was a weird name for a cat, Merlin. Until he moved in with me. And then I knew why they called him Merlin, because suddenly he'd appear. You know, you're watching TV and all of a sudden there'd be this big black cat in front of you. Or he'd be sort of like stroking in one moment and in between strokes he'd suddenly disappear and he'd be, waiting at the door to be let out or something. And it's like, whoa. That's why they called him Merlin. Come on, I've done me 2 hours, have I? I've done me 2 hours exactly now. I'll wait until TikTok gets to 2 hours, but it's like seconds away. So I'm going to love you all and leave you. Let's close down by one by one. We'll come out of Meet Me. And we'll shut down YouTube if I can work out where it's gone. There we are. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. Au revoir. I know you didn't get this far because you only watched the first 3 minutes usually. So who cares?